Good morning and welcome to my day in the life video. I am a product analyst. I've been in analyst roles for around 6 years now. I am also a mom with 2 kids in elementary school, and I work from home, which I am super grateful to have a job where I can work from home because it gives me that flexibility to take care of the kids, manage all of my responsibilities, and do a really good job at work at the same time. So in this video, we'll talk about my salary and work history. We'll talk about the types of skills you would need to be a successful analyst and go over a typical day in the life of the things you would work on for most analytical roles, and just have a nice, cozy work from home day together. So I did not start out my career as an analyst directly. I've had many different jobs in my life, in many different industries. So I went to college and I graduated with a degree in economics. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I was younger. But I just picked economics because it was a practical choice compared to some of the things I was more passionate about at the time, like art. I chose something more practical instead, and I really don't have regrets about that. It has been helpful throughout my work history. But yeah, after college, I didn't have a fancy job. I worked for an air conditioning company doing logistics, helping out with their logistics for parts shipping, and after a couple of years there, we moved to New York City, where I just did a bunch of different temp roles. I was a receptionist for a while, making $15 an hour. I worked at a wine and spirits company for like $18 an hour. That was actually a lot of fun. And I wound up finding a job at a startup for $28,000 a year when I first started, which was a ridiculously low amount of money at the time. But for some reason, I took that job, and I actually wound up learning a lot of skills there. I started out as an assistant in the production team, and I wound up working my way up to sort of an account manager type of role, and through that role is where I first started learning my first analyst skill set. So since then, I've just continued building my skills, and I actually got hired on as a production analyst at that company, and then I was a business analyst for 4 years, and then finally at my most recent company, I'm a product analyst for the last 2 years. So it's been a process. My current salary is the highest I've ever made. My current salary is $120,000 a year. Before this, when I was a business analyst, my salary was around $90,000 a year. Before that, the startup, my salary was much lower. I would say around $60,000 a year. And then before that was $45,000. So it's slowly built up over time. And moving to different roles really helps you kind of achieve those bumps in salary. So what are the main skills that you need to succeed as an analyst? The 2 that I really recommend are one way to pull data out of databases. A really common way of doing this is by using SQL, which is a language that you use to kind of query databases and select the amount of data that you want to pull out to analyze further. Usually you would pull that data into a visualization software like Tableau, which is the other thing I work with a lot, especially in my current role. You can also pull it just into an Excel sheet and do more work there. So really SQL, Tableau, Excel. There are other data visualization tools as well, and other languages you can use to pull data out of the databases. So some other languages you could learn would be Python or R, which are ways for you to communicate with a database or a lake of data to pull that data out and make it into more comprehensive information. So for instance, instead of just a list of sales and amounts, you would pull maybe like the number of sales per state or the total amount of sales in a certain time period. So that's what SQL and R and Python allow you to do at the very least. There's many more complicated things you can do with those languages too, but those are some really basic ways to use those languages. And then visualization tools like Tableau. R has some visualization software. Looker is another data visualization tool. Google Data Studio, I think it's called. There are many ways to then take that data and information and then turn it into something that is really easy to comprehend just by looking at it. A really well-formatted report, a dashboard where you can click and filter different things. So maybe you could have total sales and then filter it by different states or different years. And altogether, sort of that process of pulling data out and creating a published way to consume that data is some of the main things that any analyst probably typically works on. That could be a financial analyst working with sales data. That could be a data analyst working with any type of data. Product analyst like me focuses more on product data. So depending on the company you work for, the different needs for an analyst might be a little bit different. But typically what an analyst would do is work with a non-technical team, like a marketing team, a product team, or some other business team to kind of gather requirements, talk to them about what kind of data they need or want to have available to them, and then they'll create ways for those teams to access that data. So you could build self-service reports and dashboards. You could create more in-depth individual custom reports for certain things that may need a little bit of a deeper dive. There's many different things you can do to help your partner team uncover the insights that they need with data. For me, a typical day in the life would be starting up work in the morning, checking all my emails, my Slack communications, checking my request queue of work. A lot of analysts work on a Jira process, and so you come in, look at all of the requests that are new, and then maybe schedule some meetings or have some meetings with different stakeholders who have put in those requests to prioritize which requests may be the most important when, or fully flesh out all of the requirements and asks that those people, that whoever has made the request has. So they may want it for a specific project. They'll give you a little bit more context, maybe give you some more people to talk to who can help you get a whole 360 picture of what you need to work on. And once you have a very good idea of exactly what your stakeholders' needs are and what data you have available to you, then you can go into more deep focus work, pulling that data out, crafting that data into some type of report that your stakeholder can consume, and that really helps address that question in the way that they need to achieve whatever objective they're trying to achieve with that data. So a lot of my work, I would say about half my work is meetings, talking with people, understanding their needs and what they want, Then the other half of it is focused more on actual data extraction using SQL and putting together reports, whether a visual dashboard, whether a written report, or some other type of report. So it's a little bit half and half. One tip that I've learned from working with some really good analysts is something you can do to bring your role to the next level as an analyst is really working with the people who are asking you for data to really understand their needs. So instead of being a gopher where people are asking you to get a certain amount of data, you get the data and you don't ask any further questions. Something you can really do to help yourself as an analyst is to really dive deep into their needs and sort of the strategy and aims behind why they're asking for data. And that can help give you a lot more additional context and help you create better reports, more informative, useful insights, and just a really great tip that I learned from one of the best. So this is my typical day in the life. I spent a lot of time today working on a dashboard, wrapping up the day, and I'm just going to end the day on this sweet note with my family and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.